Hey guys, what's up? So the next one I'm going to be reading is poem 799, which is called Widow Dressed in Black, which is actually a story. I can't tell you how much I love Halloween. It is one of my favorite holidays. So when the time comes, I get even more inspiration. I've always been drawn to the dark side. It fascinates me. Ghosts, witches, zombies, fortune tellers, demons. I don't know, there's just a mystery there that I love to write about. Perhaps that's why the main character to the story is a photographer. He shoots objects, things out of the ordinary, and a bit bizarre. I came up with this idea at 3 in the morning and I told myself I'll just write it tomorrow, but I just kept getting more ideas for it and I couldn't go to bed until it was written. So I pulled out my laptop and kept writing. Widow Dressed in Black. It was 30 minutes after midnight. This is actually when I start to get my creative juices working. I grabbed my camera and my jacket, turned my lamp off, and walked down the stairs, leaving my apartment. The night was silent, so silent that not even the wind, making the leaves to the trees move, were loud enough. All that stood out were the red traffic lights flickering, but I just kept walking on the sidewalk until I made it to the Garden Wake Cemetery. The gates were rusty and old. There were even some dead vines on them. There was a bit of fog. The view was morbid and dark. It was perfect. It looked like the beginning to some supernatural horror flick. I laughed, pulled up my camera, removing the lid, focusing, making sure the flash was on, still getting the curved shape of the gate, but focusing on the tombstones and statues with fog. I took the shot. After I was done, I moved, but still viewing through the lens of the camera, looking for something to capture, but noticed that when I was moving, the moon was bloody. It had come from out of nowhere. Amazed, I put down the camera just a little bit. Even the glow was red. I smiled while taking another photograph. With the right angle, it looked like a heart. Then the camera started acting up, making a weird noise. What the hell? I kept looking at it and noticed the light was off, as if it was turned off. But it wasn't. I all of a sudden heard the gates, then looked back up and noticed that they had opened, which was odd considering that when I got here, they were locked. Hello? Is anyone in here? The hairs to my back stood up. Shivers ran up my spine and goosebumps appeared all over my body. I turned around and was about to head back home when this force pushed me in the burial ground as the gates closed. I got up as I dusted off the dirt off my jeans, and all of a sudden, I heard a cry. I turned around and used my phone light as a flashlight. I saw a woman in a black dress and a translucent veil with red lipstick. Mascara was running. I couldn't see her face too much. She just kept crying. I looked back at the tombstone. It was a man's name. I could only imagine it was her husband. I sat right next to her. Are you here by yourself? It's pretty late. She nodded her head yes. I gave her my name as she gave me hers. But she wouldn't look at me. She just kept crying. Finally, she stopped. I looked at her eyes and noticed that they were black. Frightened, I got up. The camera fell down, breaking. I kept running faster and faster, as fast as my feet could take me, passing the statues and tombstones, until I finally made it out of the cemetery. When I got home, I couldn't go to sleep. I surfed the web, remembering the man's name on the tombstone, and the information I found out was so disturbing. I found out that after his death, his wife mourned every day. She always wore the same black dress. People believed her to be a little unbalanced, but they had no idea. There was evidence that turned up that made it look like she, in fact, murdered her husband. You see, there was a son that her husband made her give up when they were much younger. He wasn't ready to be a father. Even though she loved him, she started to resent him every day because of this. And that she could no longer bear children. And one day, with all her bottled up anger, she suffocated him in his sleep with a pillow. After some time, the police investigators and detectives got all the information about to arrest her, but when they made it to her house, she had already hung herself in the same black dress. After reading the article, I covered my mouth in shock. The lights to my apartment went off, and I heard steps coming from the stairway. I was so frightened, especially after what I saw at the cemetery, because at this point, nothing surprised me anymore. I got some nerve to finally open the door. I went to the stairway and noticed, looking down, nothing was there. Was I seeing things? Had this all been created in my mind? But how could I explain the story? I went to the bathroom, turning the light on, rinsing my face, trying to calm down myself. The light started to flicker, even in the bathroom. My next instinct was to run out of there, but the door wouldn't let me leave. And when I looked back at the reflection, I saw her image there. Those black eyes, the red lipstick, the running makeup, the black dress flowing. She removed the veil and looked at me, smiling. Come home, my baby boy. Her fingers coming out of the mirror, her mouth finally open, and we both screamed at the very same time. The light to the bathroom went on. The mirror was in pieces, and there was no sign of the photographer or the widow dressed in black.